Hello and welcome to Lutherans Alive. My name is Gregory Held. This is the program that brings you the story of Lutheran Christians and their ministries in southwestern Pennsylvania. With us today is Pastor John Smaligo. John, welcome.
Thanks, Greg.
John's on the pastoral staff at Harold Zion Lutheran Church in Greensburg in Westmoreland County. John, you just started there actually in the last several months, right?
I started in October, and it gave me the opportunity to return home.
Terrific. Well, we're glad to have you with us, and even though you're home, we're going to talk, at least initially, about things far away.
There you go. Good.
Mission in the church does imply reaching out in a lot of different places and in different ways. And in this day and age, fortunately, the church has forged relationships with other Christians in general, but Lutherans in particular as well, around the world. And we're very pleased that you're willing to talk with us about a recent trip to Africa, and it will give us an opportunity as we begin the program today to talk a little bit about the Companion Synod program encouraged by the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America that we've made a reality here in southwestern Pennsylvania, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And for you, actually that relationship and the opportunity to travel took place while you were serving somewhere other than southwestern Pennsylvania, right?
I was serving in the Lower Susquehanna Synod, and their companion synod is the Kunde Diocese over in Tanzania.
Tanzania. Mm-hmm. And whereabouts in Africa is Tanzania?
Tanzania is down on the eastern coast.
Okay. And how long were you in the Lower Susquehanna Synod? That's out near the Harrisburg area, right?
The headquarters is in Harrisburg, and I was there for 13 years.
Okay. And when the opportunity came to do the traveling, did you go on your own or with a group?
There was a group of 5 of us who went to represent the synod.
And did you have a particular agenda as you went, or was it kind of just a general visit and make your way once you got there?
We were there for 3 weeks, a little bit over
good
3
long
weeks.
Stay.
And our agenda was to become acquainted with the Lutheran ministries there, and also to give me the opportunity to visit with our companion congregation. The congregation where I was serving, Zion Lutheran in East Petersburg, forged a relationship with a congregation in Mbeya, Tanzania, through the diocese there. And so I was able to visit our companion congregation.
Since we're using that term, companion synod, companion congregation, perhaps we should explain that or define that a bit for our viewers. What is it that a companion synod does, or what is the relationship intended to achieve?
The companion synod there had formed a relationship with the Kunde Diocese, and the purpose was to see ways that we could help encourage their ministries, be it directing or ways we could help financially, medically, educationally, and ways we could forge those relationships. Each congregation is afforded also in that synod the opportunity to form a relationship with an established congregation within the Kunde Diocese. And ours was Forest Lutheran Church, as I said, in Mbeya, Tanzania. And our congregation would oftentimes send children from that congregation to secondary school, where it was $450 a year for a child to go, but they would not be able to go if it wasn't for that opportunity through the finances established by our congregation. Mm. So throughout the last 4 years, which we had that relationship, we were able to send 11 children to secondary school, and also provided opportunities for people to go through career training in the diocese as well.
I see. Okay. And when you decided to go, was it easy to get the group together, or were folks excited about the prospect?
Well, it was really put together by the Synod, the Lower Susquehanna Synod, and Tom McKee, the assistant to the bishop, went representing the office. And then 4 of us who were members of various churches throughout the Synod went. Very excited. It was very exciting.
And how would you compare the organization of the church and the leadership of the church in Africa compared to what we're used to here in the United States?
They have similar setups in regards to the bishop and his assistants. Just the extreme poverty hinders a lot of their ministries. Mm-hmm. And in order for one ministry to survive, they have to take from another ministry. That ministry begins to falter, then they have to take from another, and it's a vicious circle.
Mm-hmm. And for nearly 3 weeks being there, was there an established itinerary Were there things that you pretty much knew you were going to be doing every day, or did you have kind of freedom to move around and make decisions as you go?
We had an established itinerary. We went to various towns. We went to the Lutheran ministries. We went to the two Lutheran hospitals in the diocese. We went to their secondary school, which they have. In order for children to go to secondary school, they must pay. They don't have education beyond elementary school for the children, so they have to be paid. So we went to there. We went also to a Lutheran teachers college. We went to, they called it a Lutheran seminary, which was actually a Lutheran Bible school to train pastors, which was just a 2-year program.
Okay. And during the time that you were there, were there opportunities to actually talk with people, converse? I think most people, when we think about traveling around the world, the language barrier is one of the first things that we run into. How was it trying to communicate and share your thoughts and to find out what was going on in that region?
I had a translator, and so we had translators for each of us. So as we went to our companion congregations, or the woman that I had was a pastor, actually, who could speak fairly fluent English. And she also was in charge of the Lutheran orphanage there. So we were able to communicate fairly well. As I preached at our companion congregation, she had to be by my side.
Mm-hmm.
And so after 2 sentences, I'd have to stop, and she would preach.
Okay.
And hers always seemed longer than what I thought I was saying. So
Well, I'm sure that it's interesting to see the nuances in language and to compare and contrast with how expressing things comes across. How would you characterize congregations in that area? People of every age, are congregations larger, smaller, regional, local? How would you describe them?
very large.
Mm.
They had, the congregation, our companion congregation, had 2 services at 7 o'clock and 10 o'clock in the morning, and each one probably had 400 to 500. So the church was full. In fact, so full they had people standing outside the windows so they could hear what was going on.
Is that right?
Most of the people walked to church. There was only 3 parking spaces, and they weren't full.
Mm.
Most of the people walked, some of them up to 3 hours, just to go to church.
Wow.
Will spend the day there. One walked 3 hours, went to the 7 o'clock service, and they leave around 9 at night. And so their whole day is there. They also have very bad finances. We had 700 or 800 there that morning, and their offering was $300. And they were
Wow.
grateful that they had a big offering. But in order to supplement it, the people come in to the church. There's 3 offerings during a worship service that the people have to process
I
for.
see.
And if you don't have money, they bring items from home, which are then auctioned off in the front yard of the church following worship.
Certainly a little different culture than we're used to here in Western civilization.
Quite a bit.
How about the leadership of churches and congregations? I'm assuming that there are pastors and bishops. Was there an opportunity to actually get to meet folks that were in leadership positions in the church?
I had spent some time with the bishop. I spent a lot of time with the staff person who was responsible for the congregation relationship ministries. Also, I had been with several pastors. We had to meet with several pastor groups throughout the diocese.
Mm.
So we went several areas. And their training overall is only 2 years, basically. And they do multiple churches, where our congregation, which I went to, also has a mission church, but the pastor would have to walk 6 hours in order to get to that congregation.
Oh my.
So we provided him a bicycle in order to be able to communicate or to transfer between the two.
Well, that certainly would be a major improvement compared to walking
Absolutely.
wherever you have to go. What's the weather like in that region?
I was there in October, and it was just south of the equator, so it was generally very hot,
Mm.
very hot. It was just before their rainy season, and the mosquitoes were starting to come in. We had to sleep in mosquito netting, and all the critters coming through the walls and everything else in order to preparation for the winter season and the wet season coming up.
Mm.
But it's very, very hot the entire day. It was about 104, 105 on some days.
Wow. A little bit of an adjustment from what we're used to in southwestern Pennsylvania, or in Pennsylvania in general.
Absolutely, absolutely. And hard for us who go there because you're told you cannot have any of the meat. You cannot drink the dairy products. You cannot do anything that's has a hint of that. You can't eat thin-skinned fruit. You can't because of the diseases parasites was a big issue there.
A lot of things to be careful about.
Hmm.
Well, we do have to take a short break, and we'll come back for our second segment. John, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Greg.